Hello listeners and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing 10 standalone action movies. These are in no particular order, these are just 10 recommendations for you guys. Movies released from 2020 to 2023. Starting at number 10, we have Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. It is a action-adventure released in March of 2023 and features big stars such as Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Hugh Grant, just to name a few. We follow Chris Pine's engine that bands together a bunch of unlikely adventurers to embark on a quest for the long-lost relic. Their adventures turn south when they start running into the wrong people. So if you like action, adventure, a little bit of comedy and some twists here and there, this is a good watch for you. Next is number 9, we have Monster Hunter, which is an action adventure released in December of 2020. Starring female lead Mila Jovovich. As Natalie, we follow her and her soldiers as they're mysteriously pulled into a dangerous world where monsters and humans coexist. With facing danger at every turn, they must find a way to escape. Monster Hunter was very action-packed right from the get-go. It was very thrilling and intense and definitely kept you on the edge of your seat. The dynamic of the movie was very thrilling in regards to having big on little, with having big monsters chasing and fighting average size humans. There's a similar vibe to things like Transformers or even Kong and Godzilla, or even movies like Rampage with Dwayne Johnson. They feature big beings having full-out wars with average size humans. I'm sure if you liked any of those films, you would enjoy this one. Or if you just like that dynamic with the big fighting the small, or if you just love action in general, Monster Hunter should be a good watch. Coming in at number 8, we have Rogue, an action thriller that was released in August of 2020. Starring Megan Fox as Samantha, a mercenary who leads a unit of soldiers on a rescue mission to save the governor's daughter, who is being held hostage. Their mission goes well, but upon extraction, their helicopter is shot down, forcing them to find other means of escape. They come across an abandoned farm that belonged to poachers who specialized in trafficking wild animals. However, it is not long before they realize one of the lionesses stayed and is slowly picking them off one by one. With danger lurking at every corner, can Samantha and her team make it through the night? Rogue definitely lived up to being an action thriller. It was both very action and very thrilling. Got to see Megan Fox back in her prime as an action badass, which was really cool, and enjoyed watching her play this kind of action role. But even though it was chock full of action and thrill, it still had a very deep underlying message in it as well. It's a really good action thriller that keeps you on the edge and would recommend. Next at number 7, we have Nobody, an action thriller that was released in March of 2021, starring Bob Odenkirk. Plays Hutch, a man who finds his life changed when thieves break into his house. When trying to get punishment on the thieves, Hutch earns the attention of a crime lord after attacking his brother. Better Call Saul, more like Better Call Hutch, who came out of nowhere with this action-packed wild ride. This movie, I feel like, surprised everyone as it came out of nowhere and even starts off slow and then takes off with crazy, intense action and crazy doings. This movie definitely starts you off by questioning what it's all about, and by the end, you're left in complete shock. Next up at number 6, we have The Old Guard, an action fantasy released in July of 2020, starring Charlize Theron. We follow a group of immortals, centuries old, with the ability to heal themselves. Someone, however, knows their secret, and they soon find themselves fighting to protect their freedom. Old Guard was very entertaining as it held a lot of good action and action sequences, as well as an interesting storyline and plot with the use of immortals as a concept. It was very interesting watching their abilities and how they worked, as well as their stories that their characters held. So Old Guard, I recommend, was definitely not talked about enough delivered in action, was interesting in storyline, and can't wait to see if there is a second movie. Next at number 5 we have The Adam Project, an action sci-fi released in March of 2022. With big stars such as Ryan Reynolds, Zoe Saldana, Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. The story follows time-traveling fighter pilot Adam, who crash lands in the year 2022 and must team up with his 12-year-old self to save the future. The Adam Project was a lot of fun, not just with all the A-list actors, but with the time-traveling concept, as it kept you on the edge with a lot of twists and turns. The comedic element was done really well, with Walker Scobell and Ryan Reynolds' witty banter bouncing off one another. It's made even more funny when you look at the characters that they are playing, as they are supposed to be playing the same person, just in different stages of their life. So whenever they fight, they are fighting with themselves. The emotion hit in this movie, not just with romance, but also with family. There were a lot of big family moments and messages in this movie, particularly between parent and child relationships, and how these relationships affect one another. Plus we get a reunion of 13 going on 30 with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo playing husband and wife. Coming in at number 4 we have The Creator, a sci-fi action that was released in September of 2023. Follows a futuristic world where the human race and artificial intelligence are at war. An ex-Special Forces agent, Joshua, is recruited to hunt and kill the Creator, an advanced AI that has developed a mysterious weapon that may end the war, only to discover that the world-ending weapon is an AI in the form of a young child. The Creator had a lot of stakes. Not only was it set in a futuristic world, but it was also set on the world on the brink of war and the destruction of mankind. With all of that, we are watching our two main characters battle obstacles while also being hunted and on the run. It definitely had a unique, interesting concept and kept you intrigued with its mystery of how it's all going to pan out. If you're looking for a good action sci-fi, I recommend this for you. Next up at number 3 we have Tenet, which is a sci-fi action released in August of 2020, with stars such as John David Washington and Robert Pattinson. When a weapon in the future falls into the wrong hands, a CIA operative known as Protagonist needs to use time travel and manipulation in order to stop the attack. Tenet was a very good but trippy film, as it dealt with the concept of time travel and the manipulation of time. Gave very much Inception vibes, as there was always a lot going on but you didn't necessarily know what. Kept you intrigued with the mystery of trying to follow the overall story and how it would all pan out. It's a very intriguing concept that keeps you thinking about it hours after the movie ends. Next at number 2 we have The Tomorrow War, an action sci-fi released in June of 2021, starring Chris Pratt. The world we know it is forever changed when a group of time travelers arrive from the year 2051. They come bearing an urgent message. In the future, mankind is losing the global war against a deadly alien race. They ask for volunteers to come back with them into the future to help them fight off the alien and save mankind. The Tomorrow War was a fun watch, as it had a good action and it used the concept of not only time travel but also alien invasion. It kept you on the edge of your seat, as you were always wondering what was going to happen next or how things were going to play out. Even though the overall story was about fighting the aliens and stopping the invasion, it also had a lot of minor subplots in it as well. And overall was very entertaining, well done action sci-fi. And finally, taking the number 1 spot, The Grey Man, an action thriller that was released in July of 2022. We have an all-star cast with Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas and Chris Evans. When CIA agent Sierra 6 uncovers agent secrets, he unwillingly puts a target on himself, now being hunted by assassins set loose on him by his ex-colleagues, all the while trying to save and protect the people that he loves. I really enjoyed Grey Man. and it well and truly exceeded any and all expectations I had for it. A lot of the reviews I saw about it said that even though it had great action sequences, it still had a very cliche storyline. I did not find that to be the case, however, quite the opposite. I was expecting it to have a very cliche storyline, and it actually surprised me. Threw in some twists and went in certain directions that I definitely did not see coming. I loved watching Ryan Gosling step into his action era. He played the part as Sierra Six perfectly by able to keeping up a wall of emotion while at the same time giving the characters some humanity and realism to it, as well as some comedic element at some points as well. Chris Evans did a great job of playing the villain, as he brought his comedic element to give his character almost a sadistic and sometimes even creepy edge to the character. And as always, Ana de Armas knocks it out of the park as an action badass. I loved Claire, played by Julia Butters, and her whole storyline, as it was not something that they showed in the trailer and was a pleasant surprise when watching the movie. But that's all I'll say, as you'll have to watch the movie to understand what I'm referring to, and you should not be disappointed, as it is the perfect action thriller for the whole family. That is all the recs I have for you. Let me know if you want more recommendation videos like this. What recommendations from this list did you like or maybe did not like, and what are some recommendations you think I should include? Also, let me know if you want a more in-depth review on any of the movies I have mentioned. That is all for this episode. As always, everything we discussed will be linked below along with my socials. Please be sure to like, subscribe and follow. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening. That is all for this episode. As always, everything we discussed will be linked below along with my socials. Please be sure to like, subscribe and follow. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening.